Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Ready to Love. So, on this episode, the men are now in control, and they will be the ones who will say, oh, the women got to go home. As far as which one is going to go home, I'm not sure about that yet because I've only seen half the episode, so I'm going to be finding out right along when y'all do. So, anyway, let's get into the episode. So the men link up with Tommy and they're talking, and they are going to continue to go out on their dates like they've been doing. But this week they're going to go to some mansion situation, and there's going to be a masquerade ball. So they're going to have to get dressed up and see how the people act, because you got to be able to see how somebody can react, how they going to show up, and how they're going to interact with folks when you have a situation like that, when you going out into the public and doing all that. Because depending on how you move, you might be like, oh no, like I'm seeing how you acting in this situation. Oh no, you wouldn't be able to go with me with the certain ventures, certain outings that I have to go to, certain business dinners and things like that. Some people might not be here for how they move, so this will be a good test, I suppose. So yeah, anyway, so the first date of the day is a double date, and it is AJ and Kyra, and then we have Alexis, Fly, and Jason. So Kyra and AJ, they are skating, and she is, teasing him, and she was like, oh, well, I thought you said you're a great skater. I thought you said you could skate. And he was like, I can rollerblade. I'm talking about on the skates, like rollerblades or whatever. So they are having a little moment, and he was like, well, I feel like you're a little bit too far away from me, and he wanted her to come in a little bit closer. So that's what happened. And just in case y'all forgot, she's the woman who already knew him outside of the show and before the show, because she went out on a date with him before, and she ended up having to pay the whole bill because the card he had supposedly didn't have no money on it or whatever, which I still find hard to believe, because if you were all of that and this big music executive or whatever it is you say you do, music engineer, I don't know, whatever it is that he say he do, then why wouldn't you have another card that worked or some cash on you? I don't understand what's going on. That didn't make no sense to me. And then like the way that he did it, like you could have said something. I'm still vexed about that in my soul. Like you could have said something, because a real woman would have understood that, and all you would have had to say was, you know what, I left my wallet at the house. I would have lied real quick and said I left my wallet at the house, and can you pay for this? I'll get the money. Let me, go to the house, and I'll hand the money right back to you. I'll go get my card, go to the ATM, get the money out, and give it to you, or whatever. Like, you could have did it like that, but he didn't say nothing. He just sat there like, really? I still can't with that situation. But anyway, he done told her that she is one of his top people, and she here for it or whatever. So Alexis and Jason are talking, and she wants to understand how he feels about her. So when she said that she wanted to know how he feel about her, I was already looking at her sideways, because I'm the type of person who, outside of having common sense, usually what happens is if somebody like you, they will show you. You ain't got to hear them say the words, I like you. You know what I'm saying? Unless you are in the mindset of, oh, this is going to be a platonic situation, then yeah, I would understand you being blindsided by that. But this is a dating competition or whatever, a dating show. So for you to not know whether or not he like you like that, even now, like, you had to basically ask him how he feel about you. Are you feeling me? Like, you should have known that was a no for me dog situation for you to have to even ask him. But anyway, let's continue. So she basically was like, I need to know how he feels and all this other stuff. And so, of course, she asked about kids because she has a child. And a lot of people are not really going to be on board with a woman who already got kids. A lot of people don't want to go down that road. They would prefer to just have kids that they both have together or whatever. So yeah, he tried to make it seem like, well, he don't know how he feel about that like that, but then eventually told her that he ain't here for her. And I was like, you could have been told her that from the jump. Because in the confessional, he trying to make it seem like, oh, it's because I can only see her as how I've always seen her. And I'm like, if she was someone who you were truly interested in like that, it would not matter that this was a child's mama. There are plenty of dudes who be like, I don't care if she got kids. Them women be having 5, 6 kids. Look at Vernisha. She got 3 daughters. Joelle is all up and through. If you want it, you want it. And you are willing to do what you're going to have to do to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, he was not feeling you. The fly part of you was not coming through for him to see, for him to want it. So I'm just saying it is what it is. So let's move on from here. So now Ronald and Stacy are linking up and they are having a date at his house. He bought some food because I guess he don't know how to cook. He bought some food. He knows that she likes seafood and all this other stuff and bought some champagne. He feels as though it's because of the Creole in her. That's why she wants the champagne, the seafood like that. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, or she could just like it. Some of us ain't got it in us at all and we just like it. So it is what it is. But anyway, so, they had some similar, likes and interests or whatever. And so they wanted to see where it would go from there. And eventually within the conversation, it came up about her and Chrysanthemum being freaking frack, if I'm not mistaken. And they hang out. Like, they are cool. They are like friends. And so he makes it seem like, she's his number one. And she wanted to know what is going on. Your name came up when I was at her house. And, he was like, well, I mean, I like both of y'all. And I know y'all cool. But, she my number one. So she's looking like, okay, what is we doing, though? Because I'm not finna be number two. I'm not nobody's number two. So, she ain't say it with no attitude like that. But I'm just saying. She was kind of looking like, how you gonna come from the bottom? He started at the bottom, now he here. And I'm just like, I don't know why y'all allowed that to happen anyway. He should have been one of the ones going home. But okay. I don't understand how he's on this show still, but it is what it is. Remember that she has 3 kids and like she was married prior and she's been single for like the last 3-4 years and they are ready for her to move on and have somebody, and she is too. And now that she's in that space because she's healed, she lets people know, like, I know I'm good now. Like, I know that I'm open to this process. And I'm like, okay, girl, but I ain't here for you. But go off though. But yeah, I don't understand how he was able to get on here and stay on here, because I guess it's the looks, because I don't know what's going on. People have been talking about he fine, so I guess that's why. So the next date is Chris and Amber, and they have been having a great time. I hope I said the right name. It's the the DA. I hope I said her name right. Let me make sure I get it right. Hold on. Okay, y'all, I was right. I just didn't want to mess her name up, because I be having moments where I'm thinking I'm supposed to be saying Amber, but then in my mind, I feel like I said Ashley. But anyway, so the two of them are meditating, and he has given her mantras to say that she feels have been very helpful and encouraging. And they have been meshing quite well. They really like one another very much. And it is apparent that they are each other's top. They are their number one choices. So they had a conversation about the future and, what about marriage and all this other stuff. Chris said that, getting married, he ain't got no problem with it, but that ain't his top thing or whatever. And so she agreed, and she said, that's kind of how she feels too. I was shocked. I thought she was going to be like, oh no, how dare you? But she was like, we... For whatever reason, they are on the same wavelength. So even if they don't go all the way on this show, hopefully, things will still continue down the same path and that they can link up after it's over. But so far, so good with the two of them. Child, Ron is supposed to be the one giving everybody salsa lessons. And ain't nobody here for it. Because they thought that it was going to be an actual teacher there, but it's just him. And I was just like, no. So it's him, Chrysanthemum, Tressa, Dietrich, and Joelle and Vernicia. So eventually he breaks everybody off into their individual dates or whatever. And so they still dancing. Ron made it apparent that he lived for Chrysanthemum when she walked at the door because her breasts were out. She had to split up her leg and all this other stuff. The things were sitting. Them things was sitting. So, I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying them things were sitting. And he made a point to say that he loves this type of dancing because he gets to get close and you get to touch a certain type of way. He loves to touch somebody's back and all this other stuff. I don't know what it is. I just don't see it for him. I don't know why. That's why I feel like I'm not enthusiastic when I speak about him because I don't see it for him. I have not seen it for him since day one. So we'll see in the coming weeks how long he lasts and if he's going to do something to change my mind. But for right now, I don't see how he will. So after all that, Chrysanthemum and Ron were dancing and she was like, well, I was told that, you have somebody else who's the number one, or has that changed? So Alexis and Ron talk quite frequently on the phone, and she's basically his number one. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Every time you turn around, Alexis lives for every single last one of them. It's like, how do you live for all the men? Like, somebody should be like leaps and bounds above everybody else. Or at the worst, maybe torn between two people equally because they bring two separate skill sets or whatever to the situation. But anybody who she gives the time of day to me, it seems like she puts the exact same energy into it. And I'm just like, if I like this person more than everybody else, I'm going to set it off for that person. I'm not just going to set it off for everybody and be like, woo, now that I'm done with this person, let me do all this for them too. Like, no, I feel like she doing too much. But Chrysanthemum is not here for that. So yeah, she's ready to stop dancing at this point. She tired. So Tressa and Dietrich are actually going to meet up at some spice and tea shop, as he promised to do. So let's see how that date pans out. So yeah, just as I suspected was gonna happen, happened. So they up in this spice shop and he rolling up on different spices and he's showing her certain spices. One of them was an African spice and they were trying to talk, but he says that he's still getting the homie vibe from her. And I'm like, yeah, But in the back of my mind, I'm trying to understand what happened for him to go from liking women and living for women who look like her to now, I guess you got to be, what is the saying, slim, thick, and all that. You got to look like that. I don't know what it is because most dudes, if you live for somebody that look like me, like most of y'all don't know what my whole body look like. Okay, so go look up Sarah Bartman. I don't know if you've ever seen any documentaries on her or seen any pictures of her. My body is made and it looks exactly like her. I'm big, and I'm bigger than her, even though I will be and have been losing weight. But I'm just saying, like, even before I got to the size that I am now, I've always had curves. I have always been pear-shaped. So that's been my body type. I know for myself that women who look like me are 99% of the time viewed as a fetish. I am considered to be a fetish to most men. Now, there are some men who were undercover into women who look like me, but my thing is this: if you don't like me, then don't roll up thinking you're going to get sex, because that's usually what it is when people want to try to approach us. Now, there are a lot of dudes. Now, I ain't going to try to make it seem like ain't but one or two dudes in the world who like women who look like me and Tressa. That's just a lie. There are men and women who have rolled up on me, who have made it painfully obvious that they live for me, and they've done it while there was a crowd of people who were standing there with their mouths open and flies were about to fly in. So I mean, it's not like, oh, you're disgusting or whatever. My thing is, yes, I understand that people have preferences, but I would love to understand what happened for him to all of a sudden say, oh, I don't like you no more. You used to be everything to me, but I don't know what it is, but I ain't here for you no more. Like, what happened? Like, I don't know. That's something that's puzzling to me, because usually if that's your type, then that was your type for the longest, and then recently now all of a sudden it's not. Like, what you mean? That don't even really make sense, but whatever. But like I said, if y'all ain't never seen Sarah Bartman, that's what my body type looks like. We are considered to be a fetish. She and I are considered to be a fetish. And I am fully aware of that. And that's why whenever anybody tries to approach me, I look at them sideways until I can figure out whether or not they are being genuine, because I know what it is. I know what time it is. Most of y'all just want to try to sleep with somebody, and that's it. And I see through it. I already be like, okay, so like, nah. I already be knowing what it is. So if you into me because of a fetish, you can go and find somebody else who ain't got no self-esteem, because although I have been in a place before where I didn't have it, I have self-esteem now. I value myself. I don't have time for your foolishness. Go find somebody else who ain't got self-esteem, then go screw them and do whatever you're going to do. But I'm just saying, with this situation, it's annoying. And in my mind, I'm like, who else do you have a connection with? Because she was like, well, it's obvious that he ain't here for me like that. I'm exploring my other connections. And I'm like, who though? Like, what's his name might look at her, but he might be the only one who will look at her. Joel, but he lived for Vernicia. So I don't know. And I know that they spoiled us and they showed where they had like a back and forth. So I don't know. Tressa might be able to come in the clutch or something, because they had some kind of terrible argument. I don't know. But we gonna see as the season progresses, as far as that is concerned. I kind of hate I hate when they do that. They'll put something like that out there, and all season I'm waiting on to pop off to see what even made it happen. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to these dates. So the day and or night of the Masquerade Ball has finally come, and look, we gonna cut to the chase because ain't really much to discuss. Look here, Liz came in there and shut it down. Liz came up in there looking so good. I was like, who is this? Excuse me. What is going on? So, like, for me, Liz and Vernicia, they were the best dressed in there. They looked amazing. I was like, yes, Lord. And I mean, like, the way that they kept doing the camera, I couldn't even tell what Amber had on. I was like, what happened? I can't even see what is going on. And then Alexis came up in there dressed like she finna go to her own wedding, and then she gonna say in the confessional that, yeah, that's how she dressed, and she did it on purpose, because she basically trying to make y'all know, trying to get y'all to understand. That's what she trying to do. She trying to get a man that's gonna marry her right now. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, woo, child. When I tell you, heads was turning when Liz came in the door. Because when she stepped out the car, I was like, who is this? And then they showed her coming in the door. I was like, who is that? Wait a minute. Who is that? So y'all know that she was feeling David, who, you know, I think he does real estate, and then he officiates weddings on the side. And they were attracted because of their spirituality and all that good stuff. And they have similar upbringings. Cool. Well, Jason done threw his hat in the ring. He done threw his hat in there because he want to know what is going on. He rolled up because she really took him by surprise. Them things were sitting. I was like, what is I thought they was gonna bust out the dress. I thought one of them about to just hop right on out. It was right there. I saw the little part that was the little thing, the little padding or whatever that she had in there that was trying to pop out, but them things were sitting. I'm jealous because mine ain't gonna never sit. And it just is what it is. But yeah, Liz was looking good. You can't tell me Liz was not looking good. I don't care nobody say. But anyway, so Jason trying to figure out, if he could, put his hat in the ring. And you know, he was in the middle of talking to her. And keep in mind how he's been with everybody else, especially Miss Fly. This man had rolled up, and he told her, I had to roll up. You was looking good. And while they was in the middle of talking, she was responding to him about something. And I guess some hair was like getting in her face. This man reached over and was like, and so she in the middle of talking, she was like, oh, okay. And now she in the confessional, like, you know, David has always been that one, but I mean, he might have a little bit of competition right here with Jason. Jason has said it all. So, you know, she trying to see what a one-on-one date with David gonna look like. I mean, with Jason gonna be like. Lord, Ron is up in there, and freaking Frack, who they like to call Stacy, and Chrysanthemum, right? And it's like when there's one, there's the other. And apparently Stacy is always bringing up Chrysanthemum, and now that she knows that Alexis is Ron's number one, and her best friend is the number two, and in her mind, she like, look, if I can't win, I want my friend to at least win. I don't want Alexis to win. And so every time you look up, like she was over here trying to like give him a pep talk and was like, well, where she, you know, ranked now, and don't you like her? And, you know, if you're going to be a man, you got to do it. I'm looking at this heifer like, girl, all y'all need to go. I don't understand. If it weren't for Chrysanthemum's looks, if it weren't for her looks, she would not be on this show. Like, I really don't pay attention to her when she is on here. I don't know what it is. I'm just not tuned in when she's talking to folks and all that. I try my best, but I just can't. I don't know what it is. Ron gotta go. He shouldn't have been here. Y'all know he was at the bottom, and I can't. Stacy, you know, Stacy cool. But yeah. Y'all, see, look. Every single time I talk about Chrysanthemum, I don't know what it is. I get sleepy all of a sudden. But yeah, y'all. So Alexis is like sitting on the staircase, and, you know, Tommy's wife is there. And first of all, second of all, third of all, somebody could have did something else to her hair, because I feel like for that situation, even though it was just going to be for one scene, they could have did something else to Tommy's wife's hair. Now I know she grown, maybe that's what she wanted, but I really felt like her hair could have looked really amazing. Somebody slicked it up. It probably was her. Put it in a ponytail, and I was just like, oh, okay. But anyway, that's just me, y'all. Y'all know how I get. So anyway, so she sees the heifer sitting on the stairs, and she went over to Alexis to see what it was hitting for. And Alexis wants to know, you know, some words of advice about marriage, because she's been married to Tommy. And, you know, she was like, you know, you got to marry your friend. There are going to be times that you're not going to like them, but love is what's going to keep you in there, because you're going to always love them. But if you don't like them, it ain't going to work, because you're going to have, you know, everything's not going to be peachy all the time. So it is what it is. And so she enjoyed the encouragement that she gave her and all of that. And I'm like, okay, do what you do, whatever. Alexis and Ron had their little moment, and Alexis wanted some clarity on what was going on, and he was like, yeah, everybody know that you're my number one, and we talk all the time. And, you know, Ron read, he was reading one of them heifers. He said something about, you know, them being surface, you know, maybe something could happen, but, you know, if they continue to be what they are, then, you know, they just still being surface. It's just surface. You know, you're trying to peel back the layers, but if ain't nothing there and you just surface, then ain't. I was like, he was reading. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all. So we're getting close to the end of the episode. Wait a minute, y'all. So we at the end, right? But before I forget, so the people who are in the bottom two, apparently y'all already knew they was gonna choose Tressa as one of them, but they chose Stacy as another one. Why did they have Joel to be the one who's gonna meet up with Tressa? So she like, look at us, we finally get to have our date. And so she was like, you can't look at me, babe. He was like, yeah, I can look at you, baby. I was like, wait a minute, don't say baby, don't do it. Y'all know I live for his accent. I was like, somebody stop it. Woo, child. But anyway, let me get back to this. Okay, they about to say who's getting eliminated, but I want to throw this out there. A curveball might happen that we don't know about that Tommy ain't announcing. And the curveball tonight or today might be both these heifers going home because don't nobody won't trust her. Like, it's just honesty. The honest truth, don't none of them want her. Ain't none of them here for her. So they might well just go ahead and let her go live her life, because what's the reason of keeping her around every week saying she cool, but she just so happened to be, better palatable than this heifer over here. So that's what I think finna happen. I think a curveball about to happen, and they about to kick both of them off. Child, how was I right? How? I just felt it, because there are times that I'll think something and I don't say it beforehand, and then I'm like, I knew it. But yeah, I'm glad I came back on and said that, and then it happened. They sent both of them home. So when Joel told her that, they was eliminating 2 women this week, she was like, oh, wow. And she was hurt. She cried a little bit, and he gave her a hug and all that. And he was just like, I don't know what else to say, But I feel like if Vernisha went in the competition, then she would have been the one that he would have been talking to. I'm pretty sure he was the only one who was here for her. Because y'all know how they will cut away and don't put everything out there. But Dietrich was not feeling her. And I feel like he just liked that food she had that day. And then he had a glimpse of what it used to be when he didn't get caught up in what people think fine look like nowadays. And he just recently, gravitated to the smaller women or whatever, because everybody that I've ever known who love big women, they continue to live for them for the rest of their life. And be like, woo, child. I'm telling you what I know. Like, I got my friend who is in the military. His ex was big. She needed to lose weight to get in the military. She is mad to this day that he still like big women. I'm talking about big like me. Like, I'm big. Like, look, I'm just telling you what I know. It is what it is. Anyway, hopefully I enjoyed this recap review of Ready to Love. Y'all, I just can't. Like, and it's about to get even messier. Next week is going to be a mess. Do you hear me? I'm telling y'all, I wish that they would do playbacks so people could be in the room when they deliberating to see the stuff that's going to happen next week. In moments like that, I wish they would have a camera. Anyway, let's get down in the comment section and talk about it. I'll talk to y'all later.